Melissa, Melissa. No, I don't want to.
Mr. Espinosa?
We're checking on Melissa. What time is it?
6:01.
Okay, it's 6:01. I'm gonna call this meeting to order. Two roll call and establishment of a quorum. Ana,
Mr. Eric Garcia is absent. Mr. Ray Espinosa,
here.
Mr. Cruz Mata, absent. Mr. Victor Bonilla III,
Present.
Mrs. Nora Flores Guerrero,
Present.
Mrs. Melissa Marquez Guerrero. I'm gonna count her absent till she walks in. And Mrs. Peggy Young.
Present.
We do have a quorum. Item number 3, moment of reflection. Item number 4,
I'll take it off.
Hi, everybody. I'm Melissa.
Come in.
Hi, I didn't bring my magnifier. I think those are gonna have to be my eyes. The one page. Hi.
It is 6:02, Mr. Melissa.
I'm sorry, I'm late.
Ms. Guerrero, we're in item number 4, audience to patrons, and we'll tell you,
Right. I thought I was early. They came in.
oh, and we also have Mr. Cruz Mata coming in,
I thought I was gonna be late. Híjole.
6:02
6:02.
for Ms. Marquez and 6:03 for Mr.
Okay, Mr. Mata, we're in, audience to patrons, number 4. And we really don't have anybody. We have the people from TESPI that, signed in, but they're on the agenda. So, from there, we'll go to, informational discussion items, and we have them, discussion with the TESPIs in regards to the superintendent search, process. I don't know who's gonna present or.
We can just go right up there.
Yeah, anywhere you want to, I mean. And then after that, I mean, if any board members have any questions, I mean, we'll ask questions.
Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you. I'm a witness.
Thank you.
Oh, young man.
The key word was young.
Yeah. It's a pleasure to be with you. My name is Butch Feltner. I'm the Director of the Executive Search Services Division for the Texas Association of School Boards. And I have been with TASB now 14 and a half years and have conducted about 150 superintendent searches in that 14 and a half years. So I've been there, done that, if you will. We finished Carrizo Springs and then Catula and then also United not too long ago. So we've been kind of down in this area quite a bit, so it's been good. With me tonight is Mr. Rolando Pena. Rolando, you can tell them about you.
Well, I'm a retired superintendent after 17 years, educator for 44 years. So anyway, I'm your field service rep for TASB and Crystal City. Thank you.
Well, as you know, what we're doing tonight is discussing your timeline for your new superintendent search. This timeline is strictly a draft. There's nothing in concrete at all about this. And so tonight is what we're trying to do is kind of get an idea of when you're wanting to get this ball rolling and get it behind you. And so what I've done is just put some I've been in contact with Mr. Cruz, your attorney, and so he kind of gave me an idea, so I just kind of threw some things out there, and we're going from that, okay? But all these dates are subject to change, and so we just move through it real quick, if that's okay. Obviously, the first one is tonight, June 10th, and then the next thing that you'll see is community involvement. It's our online survey. Once we get all the paperwork resolved on our end with Mr. Cruz, then we will contact your district and have you put an online survey so your community can have input on what they're looking for in their superintendent. It'll be on your district's website. And so once the community or whomever would like to have input, they're going to hit that little link and it's going to take them right into the survey. But the survey is going to be in our system. So it takes them away from here and takes them right into our system. So no one in the district will have access to see what anybody else is writing. Okay? So we want to.
So it won't be anonymous?
It will be anonymous.
Oh, it will be anonymous.
It will be anonymous, yes. So no names or anything. All there is this little bullet that you can say, I'm a parent, I'm a business person.
So even if we saw it, we wouldn't know who wrote it anyway?
Exactly. Yeah, there's no way your URL could be traced or anything like that. Exactly. So we want people to speak openly and frankly. What the three questions are, actually the four questions in the survey, it's what are the top strengths of the district, what's going really well in the district, and the next question, or what are the issues and concerns that you see facing the district? The other questions are kind of similar. They're like, what personal and professional characteristics are you looking for in a new superintendent? So they have an opportunity to fill all that out. Okay, so that's kind of an ongoing report, and we collect all of that information. But on July the 1st, what we will be doing is sending each one of you all the comments that have been made. Everything that's come in, you will get to see and read what all the folks out there have said about what they're looking for in their new superintendent. So you say, well, why is that important? Well, the reason we feel like that's important is because when you start looking at the applicants and the interview questions, you'll start seeing some things, and after you're reading, things start rising to the top of that. Like, for example, we want a strong leader, we want a strong communicator, we want a great listener, we want someone that has instructional background or somebody that has finance background. Different things like that will start surfacing inside that survey. So when you start looking for the interview questions and things like that, those are some of the things we want to hone in on and start making sure that the candidates that are applying to this position have those characteristics in their history, in their career. So that's the method to our madness, if you will. So that's going to come to you on July the 1st, all right? You don't have to do anything. There's no meeting involved. It'll come directly to your email, okay? After that is over with, then right now we've got selected for Tuesday, July the 6th as the end of the applications. The application ends on that evening at midnight, okay? So all the applications that have come in will be collected that evening. On July the 7th, you're going to receive 2 emails from us. One will tell you how to access the applicant information. The second email will let you get in to see all the applicants who've applied for the position. Okay, so you'll be able to see exactly what we see on our end. Okay, so that's going to be a little time consuming on your part, and because you're going to have to go through all those applications and everything. Even though they're electronic, they're not paper. We want you to spend some time going through all those and making sure, you're selecting the right one to bring in for an interview, okay? Again, that will happen on July the 7th, that will occur. And then on Monday, July the 12th, these dates right here become critical. And want to make sure that we can get everybody here on July the 12th. July the 12th is when we'll be back with you and we'll be going over all the applicants that you that you have received. And we're going to be doing a lot of stuff behind the scenes that you don't know about. We're going to be checking all the applicants and who's applied for the job. We're checking them out, making sure, they say they are and all that kind of stuff. And then we're going to come into the meeting that evening, and some of your homework will be that you'll need to select 6 or 7 or 8 or whatever names of candidates that you said, after looking through all these, I kind of like these number, this group. And you're going to bring that to that meeting that evening, okay? And then we're going to go around and we're going to talk about all the candidates that everybody has selected, okay? We're even going to have some of our own that we vetted and we feel like, match what we feel like the district's looking for in their next superintendent. And we're going to take time to go over that that evening. Also that evening, we're going to be talking about how the first round of interviews go, how it progresses. And the second thing we're going to talk about are your interview questions. Now, inside that second email, you're going to have like 98 superintendent interview questions. And out of that 98, you'll select 4 that you'll need to bring to that meeting that evening, okay? So we can have those worked out for that night, okay? So that's a rather long meeting. It's about a 3-hour meeting, and to get through everything, talk about everything. But the good thing is you get 3 hours of board training credit that evening, so that's a plus. There is some positive things going on that evening to be here that long.
Right.
We understand that. So anyway, you get 3 hours of board training credit, so that's a good thing. But anyway, that night we'll come up, or you'll decide on the number that you want to interview. We generally select 6. Most districts that we work with like to bring in 6 in the first round of interviews. Kind of gives you a cross-section of all the candidates. Now that number is not hard and fast. That's just kind of the arbitrary number we've worked with. That number can go from 6, it can go to 7. Now, we've had some districts even go to 9 to bring in on the first round. It's whatever you decide that you want to do. Okay? It's strictly your decision on that. Then right now we've set the dates for your first round of interviews, July 19, 20, and 21. Okay? That means that's two candidates coming per night, and you'll be interviewing those. Now, we will not be here. It's just going to be you and the candidate. But we're going to go over how all that process works, okay, and how it works out. And some boards say, well, why aren't you going to be here? Well, there's 2 reasons. Number one, if we're here, we don't want the candidate calling us and saying, well, how did I do? What did they say? And stuff like that. If we're not here, we can say, we don't know. And then on the other hand, we don't want you as a board member coming up to us and saying, okay, who do you think we should choose? Because it's not our decision. It's your decision. I made the grave mistake of doing that one time to a friend of mine. He was way up in the panhandle. I got there early, and I said, okay, I'm going to sit way back over here in the corner, and don't come and ask me what I thought, okay? After it was over, every single board member came and asked me what I thought. So anyway, it was... I told them how I thought, and they said, really? We thought he was great. I said, well, you shouldn't have asked me then. So anyway, so that's why we don't show up. We want you to do it, but we haven't lost the board yet, so you can make it through this. But anyway, the 19th, 20th, and 21st is what we have set for your first round of interviews. And then after that, on Monday, July 26th, we'll be back to talk about, okay, now you've had 6, now who are your 3 that you want to bring back? And these are the 3 that you feel like that any one of these 3 could potentially be your new superintendent. And we bring those back on August 2nd, 3rd, and 4th. And you say, well, why so long? Because, well, we have some turnaround time for the candidate, and so they can make travel plans to return back here. And so they give them a little bit of leeway time to make those travel arrangements. On the 2nd, 3rd, and 4th of August, that's only 1 per night, okay? And that's when the candidate, sometimes, boards want the candidate's spouse to attend, so they have a social at the front end and kind of what we call it a grip and grin, type of thing. And so you're kind of meeting the candidate and the candidate's spouse. Some boards are getting away from that because of the COVID thing. They just rather get to the interview, get it on, be done with it. So it's strictly up to you what you want to do. That doesn't have to be decided now. We'll wait until we get to that time. But anyway, on the second round interview, it's untimed. You'll notice it just has a start time, but there's no end time. And so it can go as long or short as you want it to go. And this is the kind of the dive deep, if you will, of getting to know that particular candidate and will this candidate fit in Crystal City. So that's the night that, those nights we need to, you'll need to go in and go in depth with. After the 4th has passed, that evening, as I'll tell you again once we get through this, at that point the board will stay afterwards and say, okay, the board president will say, okay, we've had 3. Okay, now who's our 1? And so then they'll call me and we'll make sure we'll get the offer there and do all that kind of stuff. And then the next thing is the naming of the lone finalist. Okay, now we have a site visit listed in there. Now that's still an option. That would be 3 board members traveling to that candidate's home district and visiting with folks there. Prior to COVID, 85% of our boards took the site visit. But since COVID has set in, about 15% are actually taking a site visit now. They're trying to, we're coming up with some alternatives rather than having to travel and meet with people, because the problem is a lot of people are not wanting to come and meet folks that they don't know. And so it's getting very hard to get people in their communities. So boards are kind of moving away from that. But again, we can determine that once we get down that far into the search. So if you take a site visit, again, that's optional. The next night you will come to vote to name your lone finalist, which will be August the 11th. And then you have to wait 21 state mandated days. And then after the 21 days you will pass, then you're able to vote to hire your new superintendent, which right now would be Thursday, September the 2nd. Now, as a possibility, if you say, well, we'd like to get this done in August. Well, if you were to name and say, okay, on August 4th, you'll notice that there, you'll say, yeah, we really would like to name our lone finalists that night and not take the other thing. And then we'll start. If you do that, then you can actually finish, you can actually vote to hire on August 26th instead of the September 2nd. So that's a possibility. Again, that's not something you have to do, but some boards like to get it done and get it before your school gets really into full swing, things like that. So that is kind of the bottom line of the timeline. Again, these dates are subject to change. They're not concrete anywhere. But we just need something to kind of know how to move forward and get going on this. And I think you want to get going as well. So, any questions?
Do you have any questions? I mean, starting with Mr. Bonilla.
No, at the moment, I don't have any questions.
Mr. Mata.
I do. I have a couple. What is the cost of all this? They say 7, I'm not really, I mean, what is the actual cost?
Mr. Cruz should have gone over that with you. I don't remember what we quoted.
I think he mentioned about 8,700.
What was that?
8,700 in.
Okay, that could be. It seems like a little high. I'll have to get back with him on that. I thought he might be here tonight, but
No, it's fine.
he's got our contract. He has a contract with him, so that's why I thought he might be here.
Okay, my next question is, okay, what if during this timeline process, we say, you know what, we're happy with the current superintendent or interim? Can we just say, you know what, this is the route we want to go, and Because what if we have the application deadline on July 6th, let's say because of salary, I'm just throwing out an example out there. We get 0 candidates, or nobody applies, or we only get like 3 or 4. Can we stop that process and say, you know what? We're good where we're at, and then that's it. And then you charge whatever you guys are gonna charge.
Exactly. You can stop the process anytime as long as we have notice in writing that the contract, and Mr. Cruz could, handle that since he's your legal counsel. And then what it is, then it breaks down into a portion of whatever portion we've completed, then the charge is based on those percentages. So if we only complete 25% of the search process that you mentioned, then you only charge 25%. But I would be very surprised if you only got 4. I've got a little bit of tiny district.
It's rare that people want to come all the way to Crystal City.
We,
You don't even know what salary we're offering. I mean, I don't think we even discussed that.
How many did we get the first time?
We had about
20, 21?
We've been averaging in our searches around somewhere between 40 to 50 applicants.
Mr. Mata, any more questions?
No, that's it. Thank you. Thank you, sir.
Sure.
Ms. Guerrero?
That's very clear, thank you.
What was your last name? I'm sorry, I didn't get it.
Felkner, Felkner.
Okay. That was it for me.
Ms. Young?
No, I understand.
Okay, I do have a couple of questions. Number one question is, last time when we did it was about 2 years ago, but I think we started the process around May, in June. So we did have about 20 candidates. Right now, I mean, do you think we'll have that many, being that by that time, schools have started in Texas? Almost all the superintendents, especially the good ones, already hired somewhere. We're gonna be able to get somebody that has a lot of experience, and or probably we'll get somebody that at that time no experience at all. I kind of agree with Mr. Mata saying. I mean, I know right now we haven't started, I mean, as a Centrum so far. I like what I see, and but I'm not committed to him, but I'm afraid that, I mean, we go through this process and everything, and then we'll get 15 candidates that really don't have any experience and all that, and we just wasted time. Let me see, I think I had another one.
Let me address that one real quick. What we can do, and this is rare that it happens, but I've done it on occasion. If we get down close to the application deadline date, and we're seeing that things aren't coming in like we would want them to, then what I'm gonna do is contact you as the board and say, we might need to push this out further and not necessarily rush right now. And that we can move it out a little bit further, see if we can get anybody else in. It might be something we have to push past the start of school. I'm gonna be honest with you, right now is not the most ideal time.
What I'm saying, I mean.
Superintendent. But have we done searches during the summer period before? Yes, and we've had some successful searches during the summer period. We just don't know at this point what's gonna happen. But once we get down to the end of June, the 1st of July, or at least the first week of July, we're gonna have a pretty good idea of who's coming in. And we want to not look just for numbers, we want to look for quality.
Exactly.
That's the main thing.
And that's why I was asking, I mean.
You can have 55 applicants, but you might.
But I was asking, I mean, first of all, I mean, salary is one thing, I mean, and then, I mean, experience, to me, it's very important, I mean, right now in the district, and, we're gonna get, people that have a superintendent certification, but have never been superintendents, or maybe they stopped being, for whatever reason. And those are the people that are gonna apply. And I mean, we're gonna spend maybe $10,000, from $8,000 to $10,000. I mean, I don't know, I mean, that's what I'm afraid of. It happened to us 2 years ago. We got into a lot of problems and, but it's gonna be whatever the majority of the board wants. But that's kind of my feeling. I do like what Mr. Ramirez is doing right now. Unless we find somebody that has his experience or whatever, I mean,
And it's kind of the diamond in the rough.
I have a couple more questions. Can we shorten that deadline? Is it a possibility? Because this is what worries me. We haven't done much. We haven't done the team of eight. We haven't even gone through the budget yet for the new fiscal year. We haven't been able to do that. So this is extending all that all the way to September. We haven't
We
even.
still have to do the budget
Yeah.
because we can't start school without it.
The budget is due September
Unless
1st.
you open your doors, so time,
But with the-
business goes on as usual.
We'll be holding the workshops in July.
yeah.
We'll be very busy.
If we don't do the budget by September the 1st, we can open the
You
school
gotta do the budget regardless.
regardless if we have.
This is my first year, so I just started in November, so.
We understand that, and that's okay. That was a good question. The concern about shortening timelines is what happens, you tend to scare off applicants because they think, well, they've already got somebody picked out, so I don't need to wait for time. We get that quite often. Why do they shorten the timeline? And because right now, we try to strike a balance of, getting it out there enough, but we also want to give time for the community to have input as well.
It's true.
Have that opportunity. And if they feel like that they're not getting that time, there could be some repercussions, and we don't want that.
The stakeholders have a right.
What's that?
The stakeholders have a right.
Yeah, absolutely.
They sure, let's say they.
This gives them an opportunity to be heard, and, that you can tell, now, the district's gonna have to spread the word, that it's out there. And, but, even in the small districts that we've worked with, I'm just working right now with a district of 60, that's all, 60 kids. And, they even had, some responsive community input, so it was good. And, as small as that district was, they actually had 35 applicants for their position. And, so, I was pleased.
Mr. Mata, sir.
Thank you for that, sir.
The amount is $6,900.
69? Okay, good, thanks. I couldn't remember.
We're sorry.
8,000 was a little high.
Let me ask, Mr. Ramirez this, will we have to approve this?
I'm sorry.
It's a presentation.
Well, no, I know right now, but we have to approve it at our next meeting, that we're in favor of continuing with the search, or what happens?
We could go contracted services for the search.
Yeah,
Or it has to be,
probably need to talk to Juan about that.
we have the attorneys online now, so we can call.
So,
But you need to show consensus, and this is the initiative that you want to do the search. And it's,
Can we get like an idea? I mean, do you want to continue the search? We continue Mr. Ramirez or Mr. Bonilla?
you need me to step outside, I can step outside while you all talk.
You don't have to.
this is we don't ask you to approve the timeline, because if you have to change like 6 o'clock to 6:30, then we have to come back in and have a formal meeting to do that. So what we just say is, let's just agree that this is kind of the format we're gonna work with, and then if we have to make changes down the road, then we will.
Well, I think what happens, sir, I mean, the timelines is fine, but I mean, since we lost our superintendent, we've been getting interims and so we did as a board agreed to, have a superintendent search. But, luckily, Mr. Gonzalez got in contact with Mr. Ramirez. And to me, he has a lot of experience, not only as a superintendent, not maintenance director, financial officer. I mean, everything, even though we don't have a financial person right now, I think he's doing a good job of looking at everything. And I'm just afraid we're gonna be doing all this things, it's the meetings and all that, instead of planning for budget and this and that. And then, I mean, at the end, we bring somebody new that maybe knows something, but does not know the other areas. We're gonna kind of go back instead of going forward. Honestly, I'm happy with the job he's doing, and I don't know, I mean, and you said we could talk to
In other words,
Juan Cruz and say, I mean, how long can we keep him as interim superintendent? And if that's what the majority of the board wants, we go, and if the majority of the board says no, continue with the superintendent search.
Mr. Espinosa, if I may, Melissa had brought that up in our last meeting, that she wanted the interim to at least stay a year, at least, because we had all
not
these
rush
things
through the
pending.
process of the
Yeah.
summer.
Well, that's what I'm thinking now. That's what I'm thinking, that he's gonna start, I mean, organizing everything and putting everything together in place for the beginning of the school year. I know he's been meeting with principals, this, that, unless he's not gonna stay with us. I mean, you asked him to step out, but we said no. What are your intentions? I mean, help us for at least another year?
Get on the spot. Sorry.
I mean,
Yeah, I think when there was the Zoom interview for the interim position, I expressed the desire to serve as long as the board wished for me to serve.
Good
And
answer.
I serve at the pleasure of the board. And that should the position be open and advertised, I voiced interest in wanting to apply to go through the process as well. So,
but as far as that.
That need your services.
But it's for, now that you have stepped into the job, how do you feel, I mean, working with central office? I mean, we're getting away from you, but we have.
Mr. Espinosa, if I may, first I want to thank the gentleman from Tasby for coming to making this presentation for us. We had already expressed in a prior meeting our interest in conducting a superintendent search, so I appreciate you guys being here. Your presentation is under information, so I'm assuming that this was first of all, a tentative timeline, that we as a board would come together and make a decision on whoever we hired to do the superintendent search. So it makes it, I find it kind of, like I'm put in a position where all I can say is, for right now, thank you for being here and making the presentation. Let us know exactly what you guys do. And that we're gonna have to come together and make a decision. I'm assuming that's what we're gonna do.
Right now, we're.
The other, if I may, sir, let me finish my train of thought before my boxcars become empty.
Too late.
You understood where it came from, okay. If we did reach a consensus, I mean, we had already established that we wanted to do a superintendent search. The question is, did we need to meet again to make an official decision? Or is it something that it falls under the authority of the superintendent, being it's a service contract, right, sir? Am I correct? And I don't know but I just don't know the quantity. I don't know to what amount he can contract himself to make that decision. Right now, my feeling is that we do need to do some kind of initial superintendent search, whether it's through TASB, another entity, or even our own human resources department, I don't know. But we do need to do one. And that's something we need to decide. This gentleman here represents an agency that has a lot of experience in this area. So again, I appreciate you guys coming down.
Well, I appreciate that, and I apologize because I was given the impression, I should say, that it had already been voted on and passed, and we were moving forward, and so that was the kind of the information that we were moving forward with. And so apparently
It has
it's
been
not
voted
been
on and
done.
approved.
It has been, right?
Yes, ma'am.
I thought I couldn't remember. So we did vote to approve
Correct.
TASB engaging starting the,
Superintendent.
Yeah, and it's unfortunate that the board president didn't make a phone call to him, if y'all feel different.
okay, well then,
They do come from out of town.
So
I'm glad you're here.
with that being, Vice President, with that being said, what is adjustable is the timeline, depending on when you think the search should begin and when you think it would be the optimal time for the best number of applicants to apply for the position. You had a little bit of concern over the summer and the lateness and so forth, but I don't know, Mr. Faulkner.
Yeah, and we can, as I said, we can adjust the timeline. We say, okay, let's just move forward right now with this, and once we get into it, if we don't see, like I said, the candidates that we're expecting to come in, then, we'll push it out. And, we're not gonna rush through it. We're not gonna do anything until you're happy, because that's the bottom line. And
Just have sorry for the interruption. I know, we approved, that, and I don't remember when. I don't think we have signed the contract. We haven't signed the contract, so that means.
That's true.
And I'm not pushing you guys out. I just want us, we have spent a lot of money here, there, and we're in attorneys. I would say we're about $500,000 paying the old superintendent, this, that. And then we're gonna pay another $7,000 for this, and a lot of.
End up with,
And then it's gonna take a lot of time for us here, where we could be meeting with our budget and hiring the teachers and making sure that it's ready. It is a lot of meetings that we're gonna have to be having and everything. And the reason that I think that we agree on the superintendent search is because, when Mr. Gonzalez, Dr. Gonzalez decided that he was gonna step out, we didn't know, who was gonna take over. We were maybe saying, well, maybe somebody here from central office and do the superintendent search. But that night, Mr. Gonzalez told us that he had talked to Mr. Ramirez and that he was interested in, and we kind of interviewed him. So that kind of, maybe if it would have been somewhere else and we didn't know where he was. And we would have continued the search.
Why don't we do this? Why don't you?
We call Cruz, not today, Juan Cruz, and
The board president and Eddie, you guys can get together and get with Juan Cruz.
Yeah.
And let us know
Yes, sir.
what the route we're gonna take here.
don't we legally have to open it up though and let other people apply? Or can we just go with,
We have to open.
interim, we can keep him.
Yeah.
oh, it's an interim, but okay.
The interim has, it's
Right,
there.
right.
Yeah.
But I'm saying, if we want him as a superintendent, it still has to be opened up, right? Before we hire him as,
Yes,
but we don't have to go through all this process, we just open it up and
that is true.
interview a few people and pick the best candidate.
Or if we feel that he's doing a good job, see.
But legally, we still have to open it up, right? That's all I'm saying. is-
That's a legal thing.
Those are the questions
Yeah.
that we go to the attorney.
Let your legal counsel advise.
And that's-
Can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Hi, everybody. How you doing? Yeah, the Texas Education Code requires that for at least 10 days, the job be posted, whether through the TASB superintendent search or through human resources. It has to be open for at least 10 days. I hope that answers your question as to whether or not you just hire him or whether you have to open it up.
Right, thank you.
Yes, sir, but right now, we're deciding on keeping Mr. Ramirez. We're trying to decide if we go with the surge or if we just keep Mr. Ramirez for maybe till January or May. Because, I mean, I personally feel that by the time we do the hiring of a new superintendent, it's gonna be September, the beginning of school year. I mean, we might not find really what we want. And I know Mr. Ramirez already started the planning and so that's something that we're also considering. I don't think we have signed the contract and we wanna make a decision of if we do the search, have Mr. Ramirez or not do the search.
I understand, and I'm not sure exactly the status of the contract, but as the representative mentioned to you all, there is a timeline in which if the contract was executed, certain percentages of fees are due. And if you cancel the contract with TASB before it's complete, there is a schedule that decides how much of the fee is refunded to the district and how much they keep. But I would recommend that you talk to Mr. Cruz about the status of the contract, because I'm not exactly aware of the status of the contract right now.
Yeah, that's what was recommended, that Mr. Ramirez and the board president contact the attorney and ask his questions, and then, do we have a meeting next week?
Yes, sir, on Monday.
We can get the information, and then we go from there.
And if I may, sir, regardless what our sentiment is as individual board members, you know, we cannot ignore the fact that by TA, according to our attorney, that we have to advertise for 10 days, that no matter what. And we have to officially advertise. We can't just wait for 10 days to pass and then offer the job to whoever.
As I said, advertise it, interview, and select the best candidate.
And that point, and that's what, since we had already voted to go with TASB and our search for superintendent, let him launch it. Okay?
Yes, I don't have.
And then we'll see what happens in 10 days. But at least officially, we would have advertised already for superintendent, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, met the legal requirements.
And if we go that route, sir, for the attorney, I mean, will the interim superintendent be able to apply also?
Yes,
It's open to anybody.
yeah.
Yes. The only thing we're saying is you can't just outright hire him off the bat right now.
No, I mean, well, it's up to the majority of the board, whatever y'all think. I'm talking in terms of this time. I mean, it's during the summer. I think it's our busiest week. Months. It's gonna be a lot of meetings for budget and this and that, or whatever the majority wants.
Well, I understand, sir, but we're still gonna have our interim superintendent with us unless he decides that he wants to go some other place. You know, that's not gonna prevent him from doing that. We're still gonna have him here. Go through the search process. And I don't know if it's gonna apply to or not, but we're gonna have him here, as long as he wants to be here. So I don't see that being an issue at this time. So.
Really, there's no issue. To me, it's just time and money.
Time and money.
Spending more money, but again, talk to.
But first and foremost, Mr. Falconer was here under the impression that the contract was already executed. So that's something that the board needs to sort out with Mr. Cruz.
Yeah, well, Mr. Ramirez is going to contact the board president, and then both of them will get in contact with Juan Cruz tomorrow, And then Monday, we have a regular board meeting. At that time, they can give us information on what the attorney said, and they can inform, the gentleman from Tasman. That, yeah, that's it. We'll go ahead.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Okay,
sir.
Thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you for your presentation.
Because we're gonna go into, to turn it off. We're gonna go into closed session, sure, so can you let us know?
The recording has stopped.
You have to announce that you're going to close session.
Yes, sir, you have to announce.
Hey,
This meeting is being
this is
recorded.
going to closed session, the Board of Trustees will hold a closed session, is authorized under the Texas Government Code, section 551, .074 of the Open Meeting Act,